Happy National Joe's Day to all those who celebrate, but this is not your average Joe's Scobo Sports live show. I'm Xavier Menevitz alongside Leo Rivera. Leo, how are we doing today?
I'm doing phenomenal, Xavier. Changes in the air. It's spring, and there are some notable things happening in Colorado sports.
100%. Well, let's jump right in. We start tonight with breaking news. Hours ago, On3 reported that Colorado men's basketball star Isaiah Johnson plans to enter the transfer portal. The guard set CU freshman scoring records as a dynamite bucket getter all season long. He averaged nearly 17 points a game and was all Big 12 honorable mention. Johnson departs as the first possible portal exodus for Tad Boyle's Buffs.
The Buffaloes fell in the first round of the March Madness tournament in Nashville last weekend. Here's Jake Chow and Harrison Simeon with the breakdown.
Mad Dash to March ended in sadness here at Memorial Gymnasium as the Colorado Buffaloes fell to the Illinois Fighting Illini in the first round of the NCAA tournament, 66-59. Jake, what are your initial takeaways?
Well, Colorado was right there for majority of the game, but Illinois was just kind of outmatched the Buffs all game, kept a cushy lead, pulled away at the end. Buffaloes just didn't quite do enough. But it didn't really feel like the game mattered so much after the press conference.
Yeah, it was a little bit emotional. I mean, J.R. Payne talked about the connection of this team, the camaraderie. It was something that was extremely rare. I mean, especially bringing in 10 new players for this season. The connection really built over time, and by the end, it felt familial. It felt like a family, like those March Madness teams of Colorado's past. But he even told NL Dutat he could practice tomorrow. I mean, pretty sad, huh?
Absolutely, and I think every single player we talked to today said that it was that family, that this unit was, and it's hard to leave it all out on the court. For the seniors, Anael Dutat and Jade Masagayo, who this is their last collegiate game, they left it out there. They played their best, and it just came up quite short. Didn't quite come up to that matter and to that win. But, I mean, again, it's that family that every player mentioned.
But Coach Payne talked about how this team kind of wants to stay together. This team is going to have a future. The past 2 years have been tough through the portal. We'll see how this one shakes out. They have a core, though. They can continue to build. Desiree Wooten with Sienna Walker, and that backcourt, and fill in the front court, Logan Greer. Had a rough night tonight, but still looked impressive as a freshman this season. But yeah, from the Memorial Gymnasium in Nashville, Tennessee, this is Jake Chow. I'm Harrison Simeon for Scobo Sports.
It was a roller coaster season for Colorado before a late season surge pushed them into the national spotlight. They won 9 of its last 11 games, including losing 2 straight to end the season in the conference tourney. The Buffs climbed to the semifinals and captured a March Madness berth before losing to the Illini. Colorado's for sure losing 2 players in seniors Jade Masagayo and Anael Dutat, but nobody has entered the portal yet. Kale Johnke is the Buffs' only recruit, a 4-star out of Minneapolis with over 1,000 points in her career. The Buffs finished with the season off a record 22 wins and 12 losses.
While they couldn't get it done on the hardwood, women's hoops hit the books. Guards Diana Walker and Mae McErlane received honors for their academic efforts this year. The 2025-2026 College Sports Communicators Academic All-District Team named the junior guards to the Academic All-District Team. The honor recognizes student athletes who have a 3.5 cumulative GPA while starting in at least 2/3 of games.
The Buffs men's basketball season isn't over quite yet, although it feels like it. Despite an early exit in the Big 12 tournament and missing out on March Madness and losing Isaiah Johnson, Colorado has at least one more game on tap. The men's squad is heading to Las Vegas next week for the College Basketball Crown Tournament, where 8 teams from 5 different conferences will participate in a 3-round sequence, competing for the share of $500,000. Wow, could have used that money. The first round matchups will take place on April 1st and 2nd, streaming on FS1. Then, on April 4th and 5th, the semifinals and championship games will air live on Fox.
In Vegas, the Buffs will face the Oklahoma Sooners. The Sooners are led by senior Nigel Pack, 16.5 points per game. The Buffs and Sooners are similar teams, both scoring over 80 points per game on 47% shooting. Oklahoma nearly had a run to the Big Dance, but came up just short as the first team out and a 19-15 record. The Buffs finished their season with a 17-15 record. The winner will play either Minnesota or Baylor in the semifinals next Saturday.
It's time for this week's trivia question. To celebrate opening weekend in the majors and club baseball team hosting Nebraska Cornhuskers, we're asking you, what year was the last time Colorado had a Division I baseball team? Well, stay tuned for the answer later in the show.
Welcome on into this week's edition of Buff Banner alongside Mason Davis. I'm Shane Holcomb. Colorado football was recently picked to finish last in this upcoming Big 12 season. Mason, off a 3-9 campaign last fall. Do you think that's a bit of a harsh kind of a settlement for Colorado?
Yeah, I think, Shane, there's two different ways you could look at it. I think on one hand, this is our Colorado team, like you kind of mentioned, did lose 5 of their last 5 games last year. And in addition to that, did lose arguably their top player, for sure on offense, Jordan Seaton, departing to LSU. So I do think in one way it is definitely something you could argue. But also on the other side, we have seen Deion Sanders' teams at Colorado rebound. We saw his first season in 2023 was not very good. And we saw adjustments between coordinators, new personnel, a nice rebound in 2024. We're wondering if they can kind of do that and outproject that 3-9 last place, what people are kind of expecting from them.
Yeah, 1-8 in conference last year. I mean, obviously they got a big win over Iowa State in the middle of October. Like you said, 5 straight losses to end the season. And you mentioned it, Jordan Seaton, Tawfiq Bayard, Omarion Miller, all these key pieces from what was not a very talented team last season, but those were some of your best players. And you bring in some guys in the transfer portal, Danny Scudero on the offensive end, Boo Carter on the defensive end. But I think this might be a little bit due to Colorado's schedule, Mason, that people aren't going to pick them to be that good because it is a hard start. You got to go to Baylor in conference play. You host Texas Tech. You host Utah. And then you go to Oklahoma State, who will be a little bit better. So focusing on that Big 12 conference story, I know Georgia Tech is the season opener, but looking at the Big 12 opener against Baylor and then going forward, in those 4 games, Baylor, Utah, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma State, what's the ceiling? What's like kind of the best case scenario or the worst case scenario in a tough stretch to conference play to start the year?
Yeah, like you did mention, I think that the beginning of the season for the Buffaloes is going to be almost make or break. Bringing in these new faces, offense coordinator, defensive coordinator, I want to see how Coach Prime has these guys ready. Like you said, first 5 games, going to Atlanta to take on Georgia Tech, and then up to Evanston to take on Northwestern. I think both those are big games. If we could see Colorado win
Gilmore over there at short, slapping his glove. Coming home is Nickerson, and that one is slapped into center field. Coming around is Imig, and it is bobbled a little bit on the receive by Hoffman, and so it is no problem for Imig to come in safely. 1-0 already here in the first inning. Nebraska strikes first.
Yeah, Nebraska team 5-1 coming into tonight. Frost looking to pad the Cornhuskers lead. Low and outside again. Runner goes to second, or now he hesitates. And now throw it to first. It's in the dirt. Pickle. And it goes off the runner. And now a throw home. And Nebraska has another run. The 1-2. Into right. And backing up is last, or Meyer, and he makes the catch to end the inning. So Nebraska adds 1 more run, but strands the bases loaded, as this game is 2-0 heading to the bottom of the 4th. Big pressure pitch coming up from Ethan Platt. 2-0 Nebraska. Payoff. Hit into right. Will it drop? It can, and the Buffs are on the board, and it's past Isaiah Holmes. Melberg will get a double out of it, and he gets Colorado on the board. It's 2-1.
Hey, what did I say? Don't try to do too much. Just get something in the outfield grass. That's exactly what that was. Stayed on top of the plate with a full count and was just able to make contact.
Must have heard you up here.
Yeah.
Not trying to do too much. Went opposite field.
Yep.
Right on this first pitch. And now it's high. Throw back to first. And now it's past the first baseman. Throw from the catcher is errant. Here comes Melberg. It's all the way in the corner. And the Buffs have tied it. Niebart checks on him. On Savage. And now it's dropped by the first baseman, Nair. And Nebraska takes the lead right back.
See, not a good decision. 2 outs. Why are you checking the runner at first? You focus on the runner at the plate. You don't check the runner at first.
Yeah, you focus on the batter there. Full count.
Actually, Paxton, who's doing nothing right now. Oh, that's a hit.
And that's into left. It's 4-2 Nebraska.
Imig comes through on the payoff pitch. I might have imagined. Throw
Yeah,
was
really close.
perfectly not, I mean, it was in the dirt, but it was right where the tag could be applied. Buffalo's looking for their rally caps. Square to bunt. Hit to third. Not the best bunt, but it gets by the first baseman. Stafford's got 3 as Hobson reaches.
Some confusion here.
And it looks like it may have gone out of play. And now the umpires are awarding Judd Stafford home plate.
So they're saying the umpire said that ball went out of play.
So it might have rolled into Nebraska's dugout?
Or maybe just into the fence, and if it got stuck, that would count as going out of play.
What a turn of events.
But Nebraska, I mean,
wait,
no surprise here.
Are they changing their decision here?
He might be, because I am not sure that went out of play. Nebraska, of course, isn't sure. They're arguing about this. And while they would probably be arguing this, even if it was out of play, I think they have a case here.
It goes as a E5.
Yeah. Also, I'd just like to say,
now they're going to put really quick.
See, you got bailed out here. It's a good idea, you know, going outside the zone to then go inside, but that one, I mean, way too far inside.
Yeah, I really cannot afford to walk in a run at this point, being already down 2. This cold weather makes hitting a lot more difficult. This one line to the second baseman, gloved cleanly over to first for the double play. The pick unsuccessful. It was a low throw as 2 runs for Nebraska will come around to score. In the blink of an eye, it is a 4-run game. Nebraska leads at 6-2.
And that's just a tragedy for Colorado here. I mean, that was a near-perfect double play ball, and a double play there would have kept the inning scoreless for Nebraska, and instead, not 1 but 2 runs come around.
We welcome you back to the bottom of the 7th. There's no way it's only 52 degrees. It feels way colder than that.
It's definitely colder than 50. I'm going to fact check.
I put it at, hold on, before you fact check, it is 41. Clock it right now. Check right now. 41 degrees.
40.
Ooh, you see that? I'm a meteorologist.
I don't know what our producer Nick is
I'm a weatherman.
Because, yeah.
Yeah, it is not 52 degrees.
It's 40.
Time and the lights here at Scotty C.
Hey, we have a weather graphic.
There it is. 42 degrees on the dot.
On the screen.
Feels a little colder. Bases juice. Nowhere to put him. Nair will look at ball 1. Pitch gets by. Meyer will come home to score. Nair will continue to represent the game-tying run. But now 2 runners in scoring position, second and third, will take away the force. A big play there by the Buffs. Now down by 3 for the doubleheader tomorrow, which will be 2 7-inning games. So if this were the last inning, be even more of a big spot. Swung on over to short. Fielded over to first. The throw wild. He is safe, I believe.
Wow. Bang, bang play there. I mean, it's really hard to tell from up here, but, man, huge for the Buffs. Not only was he safe at first, but that also brought in a run. So now
the 0-1 from Humphreys. Runners go over to third. A hot shot will go by him. Ambule's in to score. Nair's into third. He's being waved home. The tying run is safe. We are all knotted up. That's Scott Carpenter, 6-6 here in the 7th. Hit back around to Melberg. Swung on once again back to the pitcher. Shortstop gets back-to-back putouts. Oh, no. The first baseman bobbled it. He is safe. An error will give the Buffs the lead. The 5th run on the inning, make it 6-7.
Wow. Good wingman here. Anyways, 1-1 count. That is hit. He went down for that one. Send to center field. It's going to be an easy catch for Ambule. He throws it to the second baseman. A run is going to score for Nebraska. That ties up the game at 7 apiece.
Really good battle we're seeing from Madison. A lot of fight out of the kid. Let's tell this spot means something more. It's a non-conference series, but when these 2 teams face off, set for drama.
get a dugout camera? Dugout.
0-2's the count. Hobson delivers. Swung on and missed. He swings over the curveball. Rowan Hobson comes in with 2 runners on and he gets out of his swarmed by the dugout. What an inning in relief. Rowan Hobson comes in and shuts down the Huskers. They come up empty in the 9th. The Buffs have a chance to walk it off here on Go Buff Sports. Coming up next.
Down that third base line in no man's land.
His bat is back. Called strike 3. The curveball dropped into the zone.
Whoa.
And we've got some chatter going on right now. Ambuel going at it with Kingery. He's got to be pulled back. And temper's getting hot here in Boulder.
Can't believe that just happened.
Isaiah
Club baseball.
Isaiah Holmes came all the way from right field to the pitcher's mound to chirp at Ambuel. He's still got some words to say. The umpire is gonna have to make sure he's gonna warn both dugouts.
Buffs dugout reinforcing. You could feel the energy building here. Big moment coming in. Buffs on thin ice here. Back-to-back runners reach.
Coming home. Inside. And it hit him. Hobson takes it off the leg. So the bases are juiced. 2 outs. Anything that gets past the infield is going to win the game. It's the club president, Nathan Hoffman.
These are the moments you talk about. We had a couple of these come up in the Metro Series. Hoffman has had a bad streak today, but knows what this senior is capable of. Bases loaded. The Buffs come back to life here in the 9th.
The Buffaloes. Here comes Humphrey. Swung on to short. Imig fields it. Makes a throw. No! Bobbled at first base. No! And E6 is going to win the game. The Buffaloes come down.
Nebraska's catcher.
And the Huskers are getting into it right now with the Buffaloes.
Harrison, zoom out.
But the Buffs do not care.
Wow.
They walk away winners.
The rivalry gets brought to the diamond. Makes me excited for the 2 games tomorrow. Nebraska's still bickering. Something they thought was uneasy, but Hoffman put bat on ball there, was hustling over to first. Nebraska's first baseman, Nate Frost, just rushed his pick there. Popped right out of the glove for the win. Incredible.
And both these teams will show down again twice. Tomorrow, you said it, Baylor starting at 6 p.m., a couple of 7-inning games. As always, you heard it here first. Thank you for watching Go Buff Sports. See you tomorrow. Good night.
Cast it on Fox.
That'd be pretty insane, and we could see a very high ceiling for this team. But also on the other side of things, if they kind of blow those games, maybe go 0-2, maybe get that win versus Weber State, and then roll into a very tough Big 12 schedule, like you said, heading towards Waco, and then bringing Texas Tech to Folsom, we could even see maybe 1-4, 1-5 to open the season. Wouldn't be too pretty here in Boulder.
I think that's just an indictment of how good this Big 12 conference is now. I mean, I know Texas Tech and BYU were kind of head and shoulders above everyone last season, but again, Oklahoma State will be better. I know Utah lost their head coach; they'll be good. Baylor will be better with the addition of DJ Lagway, one of Colorado's first opponents in Big 12 play. But Mason, do you think that the Georgia Tech game can again be kind of a make or break of a springboard on what the mood of this season is going to look like? Because again, this is a team that went 3-9 last season in Colorado, but they competed with a really good Georgia Tech team for pretty much the whole entire game until the end. You lose that game, and it kind of the season goes downhill from there. But if you come out with a win, it could look a little bit differently. So do you think that could be a trend setter for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I do. I think last time we saw it here in Boulder, I was at that game in the very first row, actually. So it was a crazy atmosphere. The energy within this football program, I think, is very real. This time we go to Atlanta, like I said. If you can sneak away with a win in there, that'd be awesome, kind of splitting that 1-1 series we did have set up with them. I think that'd be really good. But also, on the other hand, I do think that you don't want to overreact anytime, any sports program, especially at the collegiate level with these kids. You don't want to overreact. One bad loss, maybe even 2 bad losses, Georgia Tech and then Northwestern. Obviously, you want to see those go our way, but I want to see how this new coaching staff offense coordinator, defense coordinator, and of course Coach Prime going into his 4th season now, how they react if it is a bit of a slow start, and if they can kind of be resilient and piece together some wins after a not great start.
Well, guys, the last time Colorado started the season on the road against a Power 5 opponent, they went to TCU and won in the first game of the Deion Sanders era. Now going into his 4th season, we'll see what is in store for this Colorado football team and their tough Big 12 schedule to start the season. That's going to do it, though, for this week's edition of Buff Bandit. For Mason Davis and Shane Hogan, sending you guys back to the desk.
The men's basketball team is tapping into talent down under. The Buffs added Gotch Malwall and Alex Dickinson from Australia this week. Malwall is averaging over 4 points and 5 rebounds per game in the 2025 FIBA World Cup. His 6'9", 18-year-old will add some size to the Buffs front court. Dickinson averages 5 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists per game in the FIBA U19 Basketball World Cup last year. The Buffs look to revamp their roster after the departure of Isaiah Johnson, announced earlier today.
The women's lacrosse team started off their 2-game streak over spring break with a win against the Stetson Hatters. The Buffaloes returned home after a long road streak and beat the Hatters 18-3. The Buffs had 13 different goal scorers that game and had a hat trick from Molly Reed. With this dominant home return for the Buffs, they remain undefeated at home and hope to carry on the momentum for the rest of this streak.
Goals came in droves last week when the Buffs played the Yukon Huskies. Senior Lily Assini scored a career-high 4 goals, and freshman Rowan Edison had her first career hat trick and was recognized as Big 12 Freshman of the Week. Sophomore goalkeeper Elena O made 9 saves on 14 shots in the Buffs' 11-5 win. The Buffs' win was the Buffalo's last non-conference game. Let's go to Peyton Lemp previewing their conference schedule.
Heading into just the second conference play of Big 12 women's lacrosse history, every team is hungry for the title. Big 12 Women's Lacrosse League, started in 2025, is unique because it was rapidly formed to provide a home for programs left homeless by the Pac-12 collapse. The diverse mix of core members, Colorado, Arizona State, and Cincinnati, and affiliate members, Florida, UC Davis, and San Diego, have created a Sea to Shining Sea conference. After a strong start, number 9 ranked Colorado has the Big 12 title within reach. The Buffs closed non-conference play with a 6-2 record, their only 2 losses coming on a road trip to the East Coast. Both were close games lost to daunting ranked teams at number 18 Stony Brook and number 8 Michigan. Colorado's offense has stacked up well against high-ranked teams during non-conference play. Leading the charge has been an experienced duo in junior attacker Tegan Ryan and senior attacker Maddie Shoup, who have 18 and 16 goals on the season respectively. What sets Colorado apart from other Big 12 teams is their dominating defense. The Buffs have allowed fewer than 10 goals in every game to date. They are powered by sophomore goalkeeper Elena O, senior defender and team captain Jess Peluso. O has picked up 5 Big 12 Goalkeeper of the Week awards, is 6th in the NCAA for save percentage, and 2nd in goals against average. Peluso, the 2025 Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, has led the Buffaloes with 16 ground balls, 12 caused turnovers, and 23 draw controls in non-conference play. The 2 teams that will contest Colorado for all the glory are Florida and Cincinnati. Both opponents are offensive powerhouses with young talent. Florida is 7-2 in non-conference play and are ranked number 1 in the NCAA for clear percentage, number 18 in points per game, and number 3 for scoring offense. The Gators are a well-rounded team, having 3 players earn Big 12 honors last week. Senior defender Teresa Bragg was named Defensive Player of the Week. Sophomore attacker Claire Hamilton earned Attacker of the Week, and freshman midfielder Carolyn Hoskins earned Freshman of the Week. Sitting at 8-4 in non-conference, Cincinnati has the most wins in the Big 12 currently. The Bears hit their stride mid-season, gathering 5 wins in 6 games. In their most recent game, they scored a season high of 22 goals in a commanding win against Youngstown State, 22-3. Sophomore attacker Paige Selhorn leads the Bears offense with 39 goals, 36 assists, and 75 points in non-conference play. Colorado's defense will have to hold down Florida's and Cincinnati's offense if it wants to punch its ticket to the Big 12 tournament. The Big 12 tournament will be hosted by Florida and played April 30th through May 2nd, following a round-robin league play period that ends on April 25th. The top 4 teams in the regular season standing will qualify for the tournament and play in a single elimination tournament. With the dominance and passion that the Buffaloes have been playing with, it is highly likely they will bring the trophy back to Boulder.
Women's lacrosse will kick off conference play on Saturday against San Diego State at Prentup Field. The Buffs are currently undefeated at home and look to keep that streak up against the Aztecs, who are only 2-7 on the season.
Before spring break, the Buffalo ski team competed in the NCAA championships in Utah. The Buffs came out of the championships with respectable second place, falling just short of the title for the second year in a row. Some highlights from the weekend include 2 second-place finishes in the giant slalom event, with 7 skiers earning All-American honors.
The men's golfers tied for third at the Arizona Thunderbirds Intercollegiate last Tuesday. The squad finished 21 strokes under par, just 4 strokes behind the hometown winners, the Arizona Wildcats. Upperclassmen Tyler Holbrook and Hunter Swanson dominated at the tournament and finished 7 under and 6 under respectively. The Buffs are back in action this weekend, competing in the Wally Goodwin Invitational in Palo Alto, California. The Buffs entered today in 8th place after shooting 2 strokes under par in the first round on Thursday. The second round is finishing up right now, and the third round will be played on Saturday.
Welcome to Folsom Feud. I'm your host, Colby, here with 3 contestants today, Lincoln, Balin, and Kieran. Lincoln, start us off.
I'll take game day etiquette for 200.
All right. This is the best way to show respect during the CU fight song.
What is standing, singing loud, and raising your hand in the hook 'em horn sign?
Not what we're looking for. Balin, you have an answer?
What is stand up, sing loud, and do the Ralphie horns?
Correct. Balin, the board is yours.
Give me tailgate traditions for 400.
All right, here's the answer. The must-have item to wear on game day to show your buff pride. Kieran?
What is black and gold?
That's correct. Nothing says school spirit like those 2 colors. Choose the next one.
Let's do fan etiquette for 600.
Fan etiquette. The proper response when you hear someone yell, "Go Buffs."
What is Skull Buffs?
Skull Buffs is right. Looks like we've got some true Buffs fans here. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to our contestants, and see you next time.
The tennis team is on a cold streak. They're 0-4 since March 13th, losing to UCF, Houston, BYU, and Utah. Quite a fall from grace after their 6-game win streak in February. However, the team is still ranked 61st in the nation, and they have the opportunity to get back on track against Texas Tech tomorrow. Texas Tech is ranked 13th in the nation and already have 3 ranked wins on the season. A win here would give the Buffs a lot of momentum heading into the home stretch of the season.
On March 13th, select Buffs on the track and fields and competed at the NCAA Indoor Championships. The men's distance medley relay team did better than expected, placing 8th. Avery Pearson had the 6th fastest time in the 800-meter race, but due to the championship format, she was left out of the 8-person final. Isaiah Givens also missed the final race in the men's mile, placing 11th. Last weekend at the CU Pueblo, Elena Fantaschi had the 4th farthest javelin throw in CU history, and Lucas Williams had the 9th best hammer mark in CU history. Starting today, the team's competing at CSU at the Jack Christensen Invitational.
Buffs baseball swept the Metro State Roadrunners last weekend, highlighted by a 22-13 win last Sunday. In that game, junior outfielder Chase Ambuel hit an inside-the-park grand slam, one of the Buffs' best highlights of the year so far. This weekend, they showed down with the Nebraska Hornets for the first time ever at Scott Carpenter Park. The Buffs enter with a 9-3 record in the Huskers at 5-1. It will be streamed live on Sco Buff Sports with first pitch tonight at 7.
Club men's lacrosse returns for its first game since break this weekend. Over the course of 4 games over the break, the Buffs went 2-2 with wins against number 16 Chapman and number 15 Cal Poly, and losses against Florida and number 13 San Diego State. Coming off a top 20 win against Cal Poly, CU will face unranked Boise State Broncos, and their last game against the Broncos, the Buffs came out on top, 14-13 at Boise State.
Colorado and Nebraska have not played on a baseball diamond in years, but there was no lost love last night. Welcome to Scott Carpenter Park, home of Buffaloes Club Baseball for games 2 and 3 between the Colorado Buffaloes and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I'm Patrick Haynes, joined as always by Harrison, Simeon, and Harrison. Absolutely thriller game last night. Buffaloes won it 8-7, and things were getting heated.
Yeah, there were some fireworks. We talked to the player a little bit earlier about what exactly ensued. There was a strikeout that I believe led to an ejection of Chase Ambuel on the Buffaloes. And after the game, some drama continued to ensue with the Nebraska catcher. That was Teddy Pearson is the catcher tonight, but Tristan Kingery, the catcher last night, had a bit of drama surrounding him. But the Buffaloes really rallied. They were down 2-0 to start, then down 6-2, rallied to score 5, take a 7-6 lead. Nebraska tied it, but then a walk-off error
off a bases loaded ground ball from Nathan Hoffman. Really nice boost for his confidence, even though it wasn't a hit. Still got the walk-off, and the Buffaloes picked up a major win, as Nebraska's no slouch.
Absolutely, Hoffman was the hero, just doing anything he could to get that ball in play, forced Nebraska to make a play. They couldn't do so. Hoffman was 0 for 5 on the day before that, so I'm sure that was a great boost of confidence for him. The battery tonight for the Buffaloes, it is Will Shine on the bump, the senior. Here starting again, one of the top starters for this Buffalo squad. He'll be tossing it over to Charlie Lesh, who is back behind the dish. He started last night and then was replaced by Cole Wallace-Wayne about halfway through the game, but got the nod again today.
Yeah, it should be a really nice day for Shine. We've got much better weather than yesterday. It got really cold. Now, some clouds in the sky, but a much warmer night. Should be a really fun one. Shine, one of the Buffs' most reliable arms, 1.93 ERA, and is facing a Nebraska lineup that gave a lot of Buffs pitchers some trouble. So he's going to have to start well and settle in quickly, or else the Buffaloes might find themselves on the back foot again.
There's a doubleheader tonight, games 2 and 3 of this series. It'll be 2 7-inning games. Last night was a full 9.
Number 0, Chase Savage.
And it was a marathon, nearly a 4-hour game.
Absolutely, that was a long one. As we are underway, let's play ball here at Boulder. Will Shine to start it off. Fastball is in there for a strike to start the day. Up against left fielder Chase Savage, who also led off last night, went 1 for 2 on the day. Had a big double to lead off the top of the 9th inning, but then the Huskers came up empty. That's a ground ball up the middle, and it's going to get through for a base hit. Good start for the Huskers.
And Savage, a threat on the base pass.
Shortstop,
Both
number
second
10,
and third
number
base
10.
in one trip around the bases and came around to score. So he's been a good base runner for the Cornhuskers. A good guy to have in that leadoff spot and get on base and then steal some. So good start. Jumping right all over Will Shine.
So here is Alex Imig, who went 3 for 6 last night, and then was the one who coughed up the error that ended up being the winner for the Buffaloes when he couldn't quite make a throw over to first base from short. It skipped about 5 feet in front of the first base. But he put some good contact on. It takes a weird hop. Buffs have a chance to turn 2. Out at second and out at first. Buffs get it done. Nathan Hoffman, who is at short today, fields that weird hop, makes a nice throw over to Stafford, and then Stafford goes to Biberosh, who is at first base today, and the Buffs have got 2 outs here in the first.
Number 25,
Hoffman takes on the hardest assignments in the field. Last night he was in center, now at short. 2 hardest positions to play on the field, but smooth fielding. Didn't overreact to that hop. Able to make the turn, and a nice throw from Stafford.
Hoffman is a center fielder primarily, but he can really be put anywhere. He's a lot more of a utility guy here. He's been a short a lot. We see him in the fall. He gets to experiment with it short.
And on the mound.
Absolutely, too, as a closing pitcher as well. And really just his defense is so stellar. The Buffaloes feel confident putting him anywhere.
Yeah, he's been a little bit struggling at the plate so far this spring, but hopefully some good plays in the field can boost his confidence.
Carter Hart fouls it off. Count is 1-2. Hart, it's the same 3 to lead off here for the Huskers in Savage, Imig, and Hart. Hart went 3 for 3 last night and then also drew 2 walks.
Yeah, really good bat-to-ball skills at the top of the lineup.
Called strike 3 on the outside edge. Will Shine starts early, striking out the side, strikes out the final batter. And that is going to do it here for the top of the first. 0-0. Buffalo's offense coming up next.
How this team kind of wants to stay together. This team is going to have a future. The past 2 years have been tough through the portal. We'll see how this one shakes out. They have a core, though. They can continue to build. Desert Wooten with Sienna Walker, and that backcourt, and fill in the front court, Logan Greer. Had a rough night tonight, but still looks impressive as a freshman this season. But yeah, from the Memorial Gymnasium in Nashville, Tennessee, this is Jake Chow. I'm Harrison Simeon for Scobo Sports.
It was a roller coaster season for Colorado before a late season surge pushed them into the national spotlight. They won 9 of its last 11 games, including losing 2 straight to end the season in the conference tourney. The Buffs climbed to the semifinals and captured a March Madness berth before losing to the Illini. Colorado's for sure losing 2 players and seniors Jade Masagayo and Anael Dutat, but nobody has entered the portal yet. Kale Johnke is the Buffs' only recruit, a 4-star out of Minneapolis with over 1,000 points in her career. The Buffs finished with the season off a record 22 wins and 12 losses.
While they couldn't get it done on the hardwood, women's hoops hit the books. Guards Diana Walker and Maeve McErlane received honors for their academic efforts this year. The 2025-2026 College Sports Communicators Academic All-District Team named the junior guards to the Academic All-District team. The honor recognizes student athletes who have a 3.5 cumulative GPA while starting in at least 2/3 of games.
The Buffs men's basketball season isn't over quite yet, although it feels like it. Despite an early exit in the Big 12 tournament and missing out on March Madness and losing Isaiah Johnson, Colorado has at least one more game on tap. The men's squad is heading to Las Vegas next week.
It's going to be a new face leading off here for the Buffaloes in the bottom of the first. Aiden Melberg is going to take the dish first. Nate Hoffman, who is usually their leadoff guy, finds himself in the 6th hole tonight after he went 0 for 5 last night. Melberg had a pretty solid day himself, so he got the first one up. Weekly hit right back to the mound, and very quickly he is retired.
Yeah, check swing. Maybe just got caught off guard by the pitch. Tap right back to the mound, but Buffalo's making some adjustments in the field and in the lineup today. They got Rishi Nair batting DH in the cleanup spot. Lesh in the 3-hole.
Here is Richie Biberosh, who is batting second and is at first base today. Rishi Nair had a couple issues defensively over at first last night, so the coaching staff decided to give Biberosh the nod over the 3 position. Nair is still in the lineup with his bat, but as the DH.
Yeah, Buffs in general had a tougher night fielding-wise, but possibly the rearrangement could help. You saw with the double play there, pretty smoothly turned. And for Nebraska, some errors in the field as well, so we'll see what happens tonight.
1-1 is the count to Biberosh, and he takes another one for a strike. 1-2, Cole Madsen is the pitcher here in Game 1 of this doubleheader for the Huskers. In the full windup. Called strike 3 on Biberosh.
I like how animated the umpire is tonight.
If I'm not mistaken, I have played games in which he has umpired back in high school.
Oh,
good guy.
Easy to recognize.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's pulled the string twice already.
Up comes Charlie Lesh, catching tonight, crowding that plate. Takes one on the outside edge for a strike.
Yeah, Lesh had some good contact that hit robbed by Justin Holdcroft out there in center field.
That one is swung on and fouled off into the netting. That'll make the count 0-2 quickly here for Lesh. Things have been easy so far for Madsen here in this first inning. Count is 1-1. That first pitch was, in fact, a ball. It was a little bit confusing, but 1 ball and a strike here to Lesh. Swung on and out to center field, chasing after his Holdcroft, and he is under it in time to make the grab. And so very quickly, the first inning is over. Both sides go down 1-2-3, and it is a couple of zeros on the board after 1 here at Scott Carpenter Park.
Pick them to be that good because it is a hard start. You got to go to Baylor in conference play. You host Texas Tech, you host Utah, and then you go to Oklahoma State, who will be a little bit better. So focusing on that Big 12 conference story, I know Georgia Tech is the season opener, but looking at the Big 12 opener against Baylor and then going forward, in those 4 games, Baylor, Utah, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma State, what's the ceiling? What's like kind of the best case scenario or the worst case scenario in a tough stretch to conference play to start the year?
Yeah, like you did mention, I think that the beginning of the season for the Buffaloes is going to be almost make or break. Bringing in these new faces, offense coordinator, defensive coordinator, I want to see how Coach Prime has these guys ready. Like you said, first 5 games, going to Atlanta to take on Georgia Tech, and then up to Evanston to take on Northwestern. I think both those are big games. If we could see Colorado win both of those, that'd be pretty insane, and we could see a very high ceiling for this team. But also on the other side of things, if they kind of blow those games, maybe go 0-2, maybe get that win versus Weber State, and then roll into a very tough Big 12 schedule. Like you said, heading towards Waco, and then bringing Texas Tech to Folsom. We could even see maybe 1-4, 1-5 to open the season. Wouldn't be too pretty here in Boulder.
I think that's just an indictment of how good this Big 12 conference is now. I mean, I know Texas Tech and BYU were kind of head and shoulders above everyone last season, but again, Oklahoma State will be better. I know Utah lost their head coach; they'll be good. Baylor will be better with the addition of DJ Lagway, one of Colorado's first opponents in Big 12 play. But Mason, do you think that the Georgia Tech game can again be kind of a make or break of a springboard on what the mood of this season is going to look like? Because again, this is a team that went 3-9 last season in Colorado, but they competed with a really good Georgia Tech team for pretty much the whole entire game until the end. You lose that game, and it kind of the season goes downhill from there. But if you come out with a win, it could look a little bit differently. So do you think that could be a trend setter for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I do. I think last time we saw it here in Boulder, I was at that game in the very first row, actually. So it was a crazy atmosphere. The energy within this football program, I think, is very real. This time we go to Atlanta, like I said. If you can sneak away with a win in there, that'd be awesome, kind of splitting that 1-1 series we did.
Back in Boulder, the score is 0-0. Here's top of the second coming up. It is Justin Holdcroft, who is in the cleanup spot again last night. He is right back in there tonight. He went over 3 last night, but looking to turn that around here for the Huskers. The first pitch from Shine is in there for a strike on the outside edge. We saw the home plate umpire last night, different guy, who was given that outside edge all night long, and that appears to be the case again tonight. Shine goes outside in edge again and gets the call.
It looks like a pretty wide zone so far.
0-2 is the count. Quickly Shine back in the windup. Popped up in the air to center field under his ambule in center tonight. And he makes the grab.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a pitcher's duel here.
First baseman number 18.
One of the Buffs' best arms, and Colorado has struggled to put together, string together hits offensively so far. So while they had a good day offensively late, it took some miscues by Nebraska. We'll see what happens there.
Again on that outside edge, getting the calls for strikes. Will Shine, if they're just going to give it to him, he's going to keep pounding it all night long. And doing so effectively, he's finding his spots. Goes right back at it, going about as far as outside as he can before he'll get it called a ball. That time it is. It's 1-1. Matthew Humphrey is at the dish. Humphrey was on the mound when Hoffman hit that ground ball that ended up winning the game on an E6. Now here in the 5-hole with the bat. That one is into the dirt. 2-1 now. Shine against Humphrey, who's in a hitter's count. That one is just low. Humphrey, this is only the 11th at-bat of the year. He does have a home run, though, when he hit one against Nebraska, or excuse me, against Oklahoma early in the year. That one is swung on and fouled off, and then could not be squeezed by Lesh for strike 3. We're now full.
Buffaloes facing a team that beat them. Nebraska beat Oklahoma, like you mentioned, 3 times.
Buffaloes. Payout pitch. Swung on, fouled off again.
The Buffaloes that's a good win. That's a nice boost in a rivalry, kind of an emotional game, a bit of a roller coaster. You come back from down 6-2. That's one of those wins that can kind of turn the tide of a season. I know Colorado's had a good start.
That one is outside. Humphrey will take his base, the first walk given up by Shine today.
A good start, but
Second baseman,
a win like that could really catapult a team. Still kind of figuring itself out. They've had some less than ideal results to start the spring. Trying to get back to that World Series form. series win, with a win in this one, at least getting that first game, that'd be huge for this team's confidence as we head towards May.
First breaking ball to Mahaney is high. That one is in there for a strike. JT Mahaney here in the lineup. We did not see him last night, but getting the nod today. He is at second base for the Huskers. Swung on and missed under the fastball. We're 1-2. Mahaney yet to find an RBI this year in 11 at-bats. We just got a runner at first. Here with one out in second. Swung on and missed. Will Shine with his second strikeout of the day. That fastball leading the way.
Yeah, I like his command so far. Hasn't had too many wild pitches. Had the walk a moment ago, but nothing too uncompetitive. Still keeping that ball around the zone. Off to a nice start.
Here is Tristan Kingery, who was getting into it last night with Chase Ambu in the bottom of the ninth before the celebration was about half celebration, half, I guess you could call it. I wouldn't want to call it a brawl, but it was pushing that line.
Definitely, we weren't told a ton about what occurred, but there were a lot of expletives included in that description. So cannot say, but a few fricks thrown around.
Count is 1-1. Shine fastball fouled off. 1-2, and Shine is ahead in another count. Not afraid to pound that zone at all, and daring the Huskers to hit it. So far, only one. Not even one good piece of contact has been put on. The only hit by the Huskers so far has been a single up the middle by Savage that was just rolled over.
And not a ton of lift so far.
Shine delivers, swung on and out to right field after his Tofig trailing back and makes the grab over his hand. Tofig goes over the shoulder and tracks it down nicely. The Buffs get out of the inning. We are still tied at 0 here between Colorado and Nebraska. Bottom of the second coming up next on Go Buffs.
Welcome to Folsom Feud. I'm your host, Colby, here with 3 contestants today, Lincoln, Balin, and Kieran. Lincoln, start us off.
I'll take game day etiquette for 200.
All right. This is the best way to show respect during the CU fight song.
What is standing, singing loud, and raising your hand in the hook 'em horn sign?
Not what we're looking for. Balin, you have an answer?
What is stand up, sing loud, and do the Ralphie horns?
Correct. Balin, the board is yours.
Give me tailgate traditions for 400.
All right, here's the answer. The must-have item to wear on game day to show your Buff pride. Kieran?
What is black and gold?
That's correct. Nothing says school spirit like those 2 colors. Choose the next one.
Let's do fan etiquette for 600.
Fan etiquette. The proper response when you hear someone yell, "Go Buffs."
What is Skull Buffs?
Skull Buffs is right. Looks like we've got some true Buffs fans here. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to our contestants, and see you next time.
The tennis team is on a cold streak. They're 0-4 since March 13th, losing to UCF, Houston, BYU, and Utah. Quite a fall from grace after their 6-game win streak in February. However, the team is still ranked 61st in the nation, and they have the opportunity to get back on track against Texas Tech tomorrow. Texas Tech is ranked 13th in the nation and already have 3 ranked wins on the season. A win here would give the Buffs a lot of momentum heading into the home stretch of the season.
On March 13th, select Buffs on the track.
Number 9, Rishi Nair takes the dish here for the Buffaloes in the bottom of the second. Nair last night went 2 for 5 and was at first base. He's still in the lineup as a designated hitter. First pitch swinging, and it gets through underneath the glove of Kingery. And he is on base here, swinging early and goes opposite field.
Yeah, he's been aggressive in some of these counts last night. Once again, goes for the first pitch.
Max McGinnis.
Solid contact on the ground, but still fast enough to get it by third baseman. Really good bat speed from there.
It was Carter Hart
who was at third last night. Now it is Kingery. Kingery was behind the dish, catching, but now in the infield. First pitch again is swung on by McGinnis. Is out to right field, and making a little bit of an awkward grab was Blake Peterson. He jumped to make it. But regardless, McGinnis is retired. And 2 pitches and 1 out and one runner.
Shortstop, number 17, Nathan Hoffman.
And I want to go back to that last inning for a second. Anything but awkward was Luke Tofig's catch out there, right? I was talking about the lack of lift on some of these hits. That ball perfectly hit. Tough one for him to get to, but able to backtrack, not worry about it too much, near that warning track.
So here's the senior Nate Hoffman in the 6th hole tonight. Bit of a interesting spot for him. Normally the leadoff guy, but here he got sent down to the 6th hole after he's had a little bit of a rough start here in the spring. Being at the change of scenery can bring some good things for him. He's also short, so a change of scenery defensively. There is that first count is 1-1 to Hoffman.
This is probably the lowest I've seen Hoffman in the lineup since about my freshman year, when that was a stacked lineup. And now, maybe a little bit due to the struggles, maybe a little bit also with the tasks he's had over the last couple of days and just the season in general. Maybe giving him a little bit of rest, not risking as many at-bats.
Fastball is called for a strike. 2-2 is the count to Hoffman. And there is at first. Madsen looks over, now delivers. That one's high.
Yeah, we'll see what the Buffaloes can do. Like I mentioned, stringing together hits has been the issue. Getting them, they can, like nobody's business, but for putting together runs, that's got to happen. And also some power. We haven't seen as much power as maybe some Buffaloes teams have passed.
Full count to Hoffman. Fouled off the end of the bat. A little bit ahead of that breaking ball, but was just able to clip it with the end of the bat.
It's a good at-bat from Hoffman. We talked about this new, maybe making an adjustment in the 6th hole. He's battled. Putting together a nice start to his day.
Another 3-2 pitch from Madsen is low.
Good take.
Hoffman there looked like he was maybe trying to make the decision. The umpire quick to throw that away. It looked like the umpire thought about it for a second, but opted to give Hoffman the benefit of the doubt. It was right there about where the knees are. And so it is now runners at second and first for the Buffaloes, 1 out. Here's Luke Tofig, the freshman, who finds himself in the lineup tonight in the 7th hole.
Yeah, good take by Hoffman, but a nice pitch from Madsen as well. Pretty much any contact generated by that location is going to be on the ground. So great discipline from Hoffman to lay off of it, but also a tough one to lay off in the 2 strikes in a full count when you have a runner on. Still early in this game, but a quick strike from the Buffs would be big.
Tofig is in right. Madsen delivers. That kicks off the dirt, and I was thinking about going to third, but it didn't get away from Pearson behind the dish.
Nice hair for Pearson. I don't think I noticed last night.
Absolutely good head of lettuce on him. And it looks like we got maybe a bloody nose or a bloody chin or something's going on with
it looks like a bloody nose.
JT Mahaney.
It is on the drier side tonight. It's warmer.
Got on his knee.
Yeah. It's no real humidity with the heat. That's like how Colorado can be.
I think that pickoff attempt before any pitch was thrown to Tofig.
Oh,
maybe. To get in
maybe.
the air a second.
Maybe got bopped a little bit and
yeah,
shook it up.
Pickoff attempts were a bit of an issue for the Huskers last night. They allowed the Buffalo to get 390s multiple times. 1-0 count to Tofig is in and low.
A little bit of frustration from Madsen there. He's in a little bit of a precarious spot. Good opportunity early for the Buffaloes.
Madsen delivers. Curveball is too high. And all of a sudden it is 3-0 with runners at second and first.
It's having a tough time finding the zone, but Buffaloes have done a good job making good swings so that anything in the zone at least has some contact on it.
3-0 pitch is not in there. So a 4-pitch walk delivered to Luke Toffe. That is back-to-back walks from
Second baseman, number 11, Judd Stafford.
And he's going to have to figure himself out and find the zone here with Judd Stafford at the dish and bases juiced.
And Stafford had a really nice double into right center field last night. Fed off his dugout. Came in when the Buffs were lifeless offensively, but got the rally started. Now maybe some conversations with Pearson, Madsen, figure out the strategy. You can't really say anything too, broad or over ambitious in this spot. Just get a ground ball, get the force. If you're in Nebraska, you're just looking for one out here, not necessarily two. Just prevent that run from scoring.
Stafford was 1 for 4 last night, but had that big double, like you said, Harrison. He takes the first pitch for a strike.
And a good pitch for Madsen out of that mound visit. Just get ahead, stay in command of this at bat.
Ducks on the pond here for the junior with 1 out. Swung on and fouled off. Quickly 0-2 is Stafford.
I saw some fans walking in, ducking for cover. Not even close to him, though.
Sacrifice fly very much in play with only 1 down. And, of course, here at Scott Carpenter in the evening, that sun is brutal, so something in the air could very well get the job done, but it's chopped to second base. Chance to turn 2, and not out at first. The run is going to score. It's an RBI for Judd Stafford. Nair touches home, and the Buffaloes strike first here on the fielder's choice.
A good hustle from Stafford.
Number 6, Chase Samuel.
A little bit of a tougher play to make. Just put the ball in play. Good things can happen. Maybe not the contact that Stafford imagined heading into that at bat, but still able to do enough. Buffs will not escape the inning empty-handed.
1-0 is the score for the black and gold. Split bases. Ambiel squares up for the bunt and takes a strike. Chase Ambiel just loves the bunt, I guess.
Yeah, we had the second straight night we were pointing out a 2-out walk, or 2-out bunt attempt, rather. Interesting.
Yeah, he was bunting with the bases empty last night. I guess he really trusts to bunt for a hit.
There is no force at home, and Hoffman's got good speed. But now he can't bunt. Quickly 0-2.
Buffs, Stafford, particularly in that last at-bat, worked out an 0-2 hole to get a run across. Both 2 outs here. Amy's got to find some open grass. The pitch, runner goes, swung on and fouled off. Stafford's going to head back to first base, but Ambiel stays alive. Ambiel came in as a pinch hitter last night, and then he went 1 for 2 at the dish, including a little bit of an altercation with Tristan Kingery, today's third baseman from Nebraska, after he struck out, and they exchanged some words.
Some words. Choice words.
Again to second base. Mahaney makes the throw to first, and Nebraska gets out of the inning, but not before they give up 1 earned run. The Buffs strike first here in Boulder. It is 1-0 Colorado. Judd Stafford got the RBI in the fielder's choice. Nebraska looking to respond here next.
Welcome on into this week's edition of Buff Banner alongside Mason Davis. I'm Shane Holcomb. Colorado football was recently picked to finish last in this upcoming Big 12 season. Mason, off the 3-9 campaign last fall, do you think that's a bit of a harsh kind of a settlement for Colorado?
Yeah, I think, Shane, there's two different ways you could look at it. I think on one hand, this is our Colorado team, like you kind of mentioned, did lose 5 of their last 5 games last year. And in addition to that, did lose arguably their top player, for sure on offense, Jordan Seaton, departing to LSU. So I do think in one way is definitely something you could argue, but also on the other side, we have seen Deion Sanders' teams at Colorado rebound. We saw his first season in 2023 was not very good, and we saw adjustments between coordinators, new personnel, a nice rebound in 2024. We're wondering if they can kind of do that and outproject that 3-9 last place, what people are kind of expecting from them.
Yeah, 1-8 in conference last year. I mean, obviously they got a big win over Iowa State in the middle of October. Like you said, 5 straight losses to end the season. And you mentioned it, Jordan Seaton, Tawfiq Bayard.
It's the third inning here at Scott Carpenter Park. Colorado up 1-0 over the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And it's Blake Peterson up for Nebraska. I'm Harrison Simeon, now joined by Balin Weissup in the booth.
Beautiful night here at Scott Carpenter. One of the nights that reminds you just how beautiful baseball is. Gorgeous weather out here. Fun uniform matchup. Should be a fun 2 games tonight.
Peterson just his third at-bat of the year, facing Will Shine, who's looked good through 2 innings.
Yeah, Shine has looked really good. 2 punch-outs on the day so far. Keeping control on his pitches. Looks like Nebraska really hasn't timed him up quite yet.
Peterson starting in right field. And pardon me, he has 8 at-bats, so this is his 9th. Still a lesser-used Nebraska fielder. That one's down the right field line just. Wow.
Really is a game of inches, 90 feet in between each base, but that one probably for sure under a foot from going fair. Pretty close play. Looked like first baseman Biberosh.
Wouldn't have been able to get there.
Yeah, quite out of reach. Yeah, gorgeous night here, just creeping below 75. It's in the 80s today in Boulder, but should stay very nice all night.
Count is 1-2 on Peterson. Shine now playing with some run support. He delivers. High. Nearly hit the umpire.
Flinched out of the way. Yeah, can't blame him.
He had to flinch.
It's coming in hot.
Yeah. I enjoy expressive umpires.
Yeah. Need more of it.
The 2-2. Misses in the dirt. Peterson, a senior from Mount, Minnesota.
Peterson doing a good job of working the count here. It's a good thing for Nebraska to try and get to Will Shine and start expanding counts for as long as you can. Try and tire him out here.
Peterson chops this one high. Shine reached for it. Now the turn from Stafford, and he can't make it. Ball came out of his glove on the transfer, and Peterson reaches on the infield single.
It's one of those plays where just the ball bounces your way. Just floated that one about 40 feet right over the glove of Will Shine. Second baseman Judd Stafford there had to rush the play over to first, couldn't quite complete that transfer. So tricky play out in the field, but a good start for Nebraska here on this inning.
Now Theodore Pearson starting behind the plate at catcher.
Also called Teddy.
Also Teddy. We had a whole presidential discussion in Colby about if Teddy Roosevelt is worthy of Mount Rushmore.
The father of American imperialism.
Father of American imperialism. Says Colby.
But was kind of an environmentalist also. Like, you know.
Did a lot with wildfires.
There was some good and bad.
I think they're building the National Library, presidential library.
But Pearson enters tonight. A little bit of a struggle. Went 0 for 2 last night. Started at second base. Got on base twice with a walk. Came around to score once.
Really well executed pitch right there from Shine. Way out in front of it.
Now in the 9-hole. Swings and hits a foul ball to the right side. It's 2-2.
Yeah, Pearson, the last bat here before the Nebraska lineup turns over. It's always that third time around where the batters really start making adjustments, and Sean has done a good job here in early innings on the year. So see if he can keep the Nebraska offense to zeros as long as he can.
Yeah, it was the third time through the order where Colorado came alive as a check on Peterson at first.
Yeah, really both teams. Those late innings for a chaotic ending last night. Really fun one. Obviously resulted in that walk-off by Nathan Hoffman, who's a shortstop here from the air.
Pitches outside. Count is full. Yeah, it took a little while to get to Ethan Platt, but once they did, that opened up the rest of the game.
Yes, it did.
For them. Had that really fun 5th inning. Runner on first. Here's the payoff from Shine. Bouncing ball foul. Pearson stays alive.
Yeah, good little rescue swing right there from Pearson. When it's a full count and you have a runner to play with, you don't just want to see that full count pitch kind of just half swing it into a ground ball possibility for the double play. So good little emergency swing. Just stay in the at-bat and really wait for your pitch.
Check once again, and it's dropped. Biberoche popped out of the glove. Now throw to second. He's safe.
Pretty good effort there on the check over to second base, but kind of seems like what always happens normally with those, you just take your eye off the ball, split second too soon before it hits the glove. So now it just tipped right off the top, able to award Nebraska a base.
So now runner in scoring position for Nebraska. First of the day. 3-2 comes home. Fouled away again. Nice at bat from Pearson. Making Shine work.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the pitches Pearson was looking for to attack. Just missed it a little bit, just underneath it. See if he can do it again. The more pitches going in at bat, the more the pitcher is favored with the outcome. So we'll see if Pearson can muster something up here.
Runner on second. Nebraska looking to even this game up. Shine gets that one grounded at first. Biberoche makes the play, and Pearson just took 3 steps towards first and turned right back towards the dugout. But a runner gets the third. 2 outs for Chase Savage.
Yeah, Biberoche did a good job watching that one in the glove, but Pearson ultimately did his job. Nobody out and a runner on second. The only thing you can't do is keep him at second base. So did his job there with the ground out. Now Nebraska game-tying run 90 feet away.
Pitch catches the outside corner. Savage had a leadoff single to start this game. Now in an 0-1 count. Pitch misses down and in.
A leadoff single, the only hit of the day until this inning started with Peterson there over at third. Some more praise to Shine out there, doing a good job.
Savage takes high. Nice night at the ballpark, as you mentioned.
Lights starting to turn on out in the field. Should have maybe an hour, hour and a half more sunshine.
Half swing and a miss. It's 2-2. But yeah, I was kind of suffering out there on camera, right in front of the press box.
Cold.
It was freezing.
It got cold.
The 2-2. Swing and a miss. Throw back to third, he's good, but a strikeout, big one from Will Shine on Chase Savage, 2 down.
Yeah, Peterson was kind of dancing there over the third base line. He's never really threatening to come home, but that could have been a sharp double play there if Charlie Lesh, their catcher, was able to make the throw over to third. But good job, a really big strikeout there from Shine, now putting 2 outs on the board.
Alex Imig takes one in the dirt. Grounded into a double play, his first time up. Imig, a sophomore, looking for a big 2-out hit. Takes one right down Broadway.
Yeah, that strikeout on Savage lets Will Shine just focus on the at-bat now. He can forget about that runner over at third. So now with 2 outs, your main focus is just retiring that batter and getting out of the inning.
It was his 3rd strikeout in as many innings, as he's had a nice time. Though after the error, Nebraska on the verge of tying this game. The 2-1. Misses outside. Base open with 2 outs. Though Carter Hart on deck.
Yeah, a walk right now would bring up the DH. He does have a strikeout. So Shine will bring in a little bit of confidence to the at-bat if we get there this inning. But for sure, just focus on retiring this batter.
Imig swings and fouls it towards the parking lot, though will veer more towards the street. I couldn't quite tell where it landed. Paxton is confirming it hit no cars. But the count's full.
Had a couple close calls yesterday with the Cars.
Big pitch early. 3-2. Foul. That one starts more of the Cars.
Oh,
it hit
we have
a
contact.
maroon sedan over there. Whoever is the owner of the maroon sedan, you could be entitled to financial compensation.
It's like a little bumper shot right there.
Payoff again. Fouled away
Jeez.
for the third straight time. To that
Cannot
right
stay
side.
away from the parking lot. Giving everybody in the stands a little heart attack every time the ball goes over there.
Emig struggling to catch up to the velocity of Shine and to the suspense of this crowd. Swing and a miss. Finally got him to swing and chase as Shine strikes out 2 in a row to get out of the inning. From Suits Field at Scott Carpenter Park, it's 1-0 Buffaloes.
Due to the championship format, she was left out of the 8-person final. Isaiah Givens also missed the final race in the men's mile, placing 11th. Last weekend at the CU Pueblo, Elena Fantaschi had the 4th farthest javelin throw in CU history, and Lucas Williams had the 9th best hammer mark in CU history. Starting today, the team's competing at CSU at the Jack Christensen Invitational.
Buffs baseball swept the Metro State Roadrunners last weekend, highlighted by a 22-13 win last Sunday. In that game, junior outfielder Chase Ambuel hit an inside-the-park grand slam, one of the Buffs' best highlights of the year so far. This weekend, they showed down with the Nebraska Hornets for the first time ever at Scott Carpenter Park. The Buffs enter with a 9-3 record in the Huskers at 5-1. It will be streamed live on Sco Buff Sports with first pitch tonight at 7.
Club men's lacrosse returns for its first game since break this weekend. Over the course of 4 games over the break, the Buffs went 2-2 with wins against number 16 Chapman and number 15 Cal Poly, and losses against Florida and number 13 San Diego State. Coming off a top 20 win against Cal Poly, CU will face unranked Boise State Broncos, and their last game against the Broncos, the Buffs came out on top, 14-13 at Boise State. This weekend's game is at Kittredge Field at 6 p.m. on Saturday and will be streamed live here on Sco Buff Sports.
The Buffs volleyball team is back for some spring ball this weekend as they head to Greeley, Colorado for 2 matchups between Northern Colorado and Wyoming. Both matchups will give a closer look on how the team will look this season with the departures of Sarah Morton and Ryan Finley. First game will be at 11 a.m. followed by 12:30 p.m. Catch updates on the game on CU Buffs Volleyball social media.
Melberg. Aiden Melberg leads off the bottom of the third here in Boulder. 1-0 is our score. Umpire not quite ready. Something to say, but we'll resume. Melberg, the leadoff hitter, started today's offense with the Buffaloes with a ground out.
Yeah, Melberg, the freshman, getting the nod at leadoff. Harrison, when was the last time you saw somebody batting 154 on leadoff?
Well, he had a great night last night, so I think they're thinking, maybe not, I wouldn't say recency bias, but
You can say, yeah, the main reason, a 540 on base percentage.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Melberg not necessarily putting bat on ball, but he's doing his job by getting on base with some speed as well in the base paths if he gets there.
had a walk last night and 2 singles, including one that got the Buffaloes on the board. Facing Cole Madsen, his 3rd inning of work.
Yeah, really young top of the lineup today for Colorado. Melberg, Bibarash, and Lesh due up, batting 1, 2, 3, all freshmen and sophomores. A lot of underclassmen talent representing on this team. We've seen it a lot in the bullpen, now today on the top half of this lineup.
1-1 is the count. Umpire stands and waits and calls a strike after the swing in the dirt. 1 into the count on Melberg. Start 3rd for CU. Extend the lead. Takes outside.
Now, the Buffs have done a good job by limiting Cole Madsen's primary tool as a pitcher, which is a strikeout ball. Only 1 so far through 2 innings.
The 2-2. Just outside. They've been giving him that corner, but that time did not.
And looks like the umpires kind of opening his zone a little bit early in this game. See if anything tightens up as the night goes on.
Melberg strikes out. Nice payoff pitch from Madsen.
First baseman, number 3, Richie
Really good
Ross.
poise there from Madsen on the mound. And that big count is going to be a big pitch. You cannot get the Buffalo to lead off. It's going to be very. They can tally quickly. This Colorado line.
Second strikeout of the day for Madsen, and the first guy he struck out, Richie Biberoche, stands in.
It's like Biberoche and Gabe Zebrak are the two splitting first base. Biberoche getting to start tonight.
Quickly down 0-2. Starting at first base, had the error that cost the Buffs a base on the pickoff attempt, but continues in the 2-hole. Takes outside. Tried to get him to chase. Didn't bite. But he's had good command towards that outside corner, Madsen.
It really has. A good starting pitching matchup so far, building between Madsen and Will Shine for Colorado for these 7-inning games. Those starters.
That's back-to-back Ks now. Madsen's racking them up. 2 up, 2 down to the top of the Buffs order.
I've learned in my brief time in the booth that commentators curse is a very real thing. I was just talking about how the Buffs neutralizing Madsen's skill to strike out, but he's coming out here and punch out the first 2.
So gives up a run in the last inning, but enters the third with a vengeance. Lesh flew out to center field in his first at-bat. Backstop. Sophomore takes a strike.
Madsen just dropped that one in there. Kind of folded Lesher. Looked like it was coming inside, but then just dropped into the strike zone. I don't know if Lesh tees that one up. He has the power to do some damage.
Lesh totally embracing this rivalry as he hits a high fly ball out to left, and that will retire the side as Savage makes the catch. 1, 2, 3 go the Buffs. I'll hint at Lesh's passion for the Nebraska rivalry in the next half inning, in the bottom of the third, here at Scott Carpenter Park.
The seniors, Anael Dutat and Jade Masagayo, who this is their last collegiate game, they left it out there. They played their best, and it just came up quite short. Didn't quite come up to that matter and to that win. But, I mean, again, it's that family that every player mentioned.
But Coach Bain talked about how this team kind of wants to stay together. This team is going to have a future. The past 2 years have been tough through the portal. We'll see how this one shakes out. They have a core, though. They can continue to build. Desiree Wooten with Sienna Walker, and that backcourt, and fill in the front court, Logan Greer. Had a rough night tonight, but still looks impressive as a freshman this season. But yeah, from the Memorial Gymnasium in Nashville, Tennessee, this is Jake Chow. I'm Harrison Simeon for Sco Buff Sports.
It was a roller coaster season for Colorado before a late season surge pushed them into the national spotlight. They won 9 of its last 11 games, including losing 2 straight to end the season in the conference tourney. The Buffs climbed to the semifinals and captured a March Madness berth before losing to the Illini. Colorado's for sure losing 2 players in seniors Jade Masagayo and Anael Dutat, but nobody has entered the portal yet. Kale Johnke, a 4-star out of Minneapolis with over 1,000 points in her career. The Buffs finished with the season off a record 22 wins and 12 losses.
While they couldn't get it done on the hardwood, women's hoops hit the books. Guards Diana Walker and Maeve McErlane received honors for their academic efforts this year. The 2025-2026 College Sports Communicators Academic All-District Team named the junior guards to the Academic All-District team. The honor recognizes student athletes who have a 3.5 cumulative GPA while starting in at least 2/3 of games.
The Buffs men's basketball season isn't over quite yet, although it feels like it. Despite an early exit in the Big 12 tournament and missing out on March Madness and losing Isaiah Johnson, Colorado has at least one more game on tap. The men's squad is heading to Los Angeles.
Back for the fourth part of the order. You see what I did there? Up for Nebraska, Carter Hart, designated hitter, stands and waits.
Wait for the
Fourth
press
inning
box
of work for Will Shine. Harrison Simeon joined by Balin Maestro.
Designated hitter number 25, Carter.
Let's bring you some NCBA action. No shortage of intrigue. Shine back to work, misses outside. Fires to Charlie Lesh, who, as I mentioned before, seemed very passionate about the rivalry. I talked to Nathan Hoffman. They talked about how they didn't like red. They did not like the rivalry, despite not playing them before. The unfamiliar as that ball's hit down the third base line and fair. Hart will stop at first. Diving attempt from Max McGinnis, but a leadoff base runner for the Cornhuskers.
Yeah, just out of reach there from McGinnis over at third. Put a good jump on the ball. Just was put in the perfect position there by Hart to have a leadoff base hit.
Lesh, after the game ended, after that walk-off error, went right over to the demoralized Nebraska fielders as it gets through Lesh, and Hart will get to second.
Yeah, adding to that very exciting ending last night. Tensions were getting high. We saw a lot of chirping with the Nebraska catcher, who even after strikeout, I can't remember who was up, but as a Buffs player was walking back to the dugout, a Nebraska catcher kind of followed him as they were jawing at each other.
I think it might have been Lesh. He went right over and said 2 words and 7 letters that I cannot say. That ball's hit out to right.
You can do the math.
Tofig makes the catch. Will hold with his good arm. Hart over at second. One down.
First baseman number 18.
You can read through the lines, though.
You can
connect the dots.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to say, though, you love to see the rivalry coming over to the Diamond.
Absolutely.
Obviously, there's a really big break between Colorado and Nebraska playing football. I'm pretty sure the number that it's confirmed Nebraska's not on the schedule until 2029 or 2031 or something like that. So this big break is fun to see the rivalry carry over to the Diamond.
You don't see it a lot in other sports. You don't see it in basketball too much or volleyball.
Yeah, rarely.
Nebraska's a powerhouse. That'd be great to have that form of exposure. Soccer, I think we may have it this spring. I think we have a soccer spring, but it doesn't count for a record, nothing like that. So it's really nice to see some high-stakes action between Buffaloes and Cornhuskers.
Yeah. And to see it play out. Right as that walk-off hit happened, there's even more talking. That seven-letter phrase, 2 words, I'm sure was being shared a little bit there at the end of it. So see if anything happens in these 2 games, but there's a beautiful environment right now. Obviously, tensions are low.
So after Holdcroft flew out, now it's Matthew Humphrey in a 1-2 count. Shine working with 1 out and a runner on second. 1-2 from Shine upcoming. In the dirt.
Yeah, Shine closed out last inning with back-to-back strikeouts to get his total up to 4 so far through 3 1/3 innings.
Yeah, he's done well even with runners on. Has had a single allowed, then a walk, and a single, but after that, it's just shut down Cornhuskers so far. Runner on second this time. 2-2 pitches, swung on and missed.
Like that 5.
Right on cue. Humphrey is retired. That brings up JT Mahaney.
Number 1, JT
Yeah,
Mahaney.
it's always good to see strikeouts get up there early in games, but kind of as I mentioned, for these shorter 7-inning games means even more, because if the more both teams really can preserve their bullpen for anything that can happen in game 2, it's just better. So keeping your arms fresh, Shine looking dominant so far.
Haney takes one at the top of the zone. Struck out his last time up. Starting at second tonight. Haney, a native of Tabor, Iowa.
Iowa just lost, right?
Yeah, in the March Madness. Bouncing ball over to third. McGinnis handles it, throws to first in time. Nice play. Matt retires his side. We're in the top of the 4th. Contrary to what I said after the last half inning, we'll head to the bottom of it right here on Scopa Sports.
Differently, so do you think that could be a trend center for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I do. I think last time we saw it here in Boulder, I was at that game in the very first row, actually. So it was a crazy atmosphere. The energy within this football program, I think, is very real. This time we go to Atlanta, like I said. If you can sneak away with a win in there, that'd be awesome, kind of splitting that 1-1 series we did have set up with them. I think that'd be really good. But also, on the other hand, I do think that you don't want to overreact anytime, any sports program, especially at the collegiate level with these kids. You don't want to overreact. 1 bad loss, maybe even 2 bad losses, Georgia Tech and then Northwestern. Obviously, you want to see those go our way, but I want to see how this new coaching staff offense coordinator, defense coordinator, and of course Coach Prime going into his 4th season now, how they react if it is a bit of a slow start, and if they can kind of be resilient and piece together some wins after a not great start.
Well, guys, the last time Colorado started the season on the road against a Power 5 opponent, they went to TCU and won in the first game of the Deion Sanders era. Now going into his 4th season, we'll see what is in store for this Colorado football team and their tough Big 12 schedule to start the season. That's going to do it, though, for this week's edition of Buff Bandit. For Mason Davis and Shane Hogan, sending you guys back to the desk.
The men's basketball team is tapping into talent down under. The Buffs added Gotch Malwall and Alex Dickinson from Australia.
5-6 up for the Buffaloes to start the bottom of the 4th. Rashid
Designated
Hare.
hitter, number 9, Rashid Hare.
1-0 our score. CU leads Nebraska here in Boulder.
Yeah, Nair, really one of the more underrated, consistent bats in this lineup. Ever since last year, as long as I can remember covering the team, he's been a consistent bat every spring.
Nair has the lone hit today for CU. Grounded a ball through the third baseman's glove. Went the opposite way and came around to score after a fielder's choice. Swings and misses quickly down 0-2. Cole Madsen continues to roll.
Yeah, we talked about how fun of a game that was last night, Harrison. You've been covering this team for a pretty fair amount. Where does last night's game stand in just some of the best games you've seen at Scott Carpenter?
That ball towering, hit out to left. Savage backtracks, makes the catch. So nicely hit ball. Nair's retired, but yeah, as you said,
number 13, Max
I'm
McGinnis.
gonna be straight up number 1.
Yeah,
that was probably the most eventful game, and I've seen some crazy stuff. I saw CU rally back from down 7 in the final inning against Air Force, come back and win that game. But in terms of the drama all night, as McGinnis hits that one to the left, nice single.
Yeah, it feels like that game had a really good mix of hybrid of pretty sound baseball on both sides. There wasn't too many, crazy sort of club plays you think about. It was pretty sound baseball, and on top of that,
number 17, Nathan Hoffman.
The few mistakes that we saw, there were some, their fair share, but they made a big difference. They cost runs, and in a one-run game, you think back, have some regret.
It was off an error.
Right, a walk-off off the error, that's the direct one, but then a lot more was in part due to an error or some miscue in the field, maybe a walk or something like that. But yeah, I mean, Buffalo's with the base runner, but yeah, last night had to come down 6-2, make that big rally in the
back up the lead again.
Check on McGinnis. He had that nicely hit ball in the left field. Solid contact for the Buffaloes so far this inning. That game, yeah, just all the way around. Really fun. Oh, and we got some breaking news here in the booth. Barrington Hargis has agreed to a deal to return to Colorado.
Yeah. Right.
I totally pump faked the entire booth. That pretty wild that was reported in the same way that a transfer portal announcement would be. That's pretty big, considering Isaiah Johnson just went by the wayside yesterday for CU. It's now Barrington ball time.
Yeah, Barrington is a scoring machine, probably on top of Isaiah Johnson last year. But I remember one of the first basketball games I covered, Barrington had 20 in the first half, and he ended the game with 27 or 28 points.
Yeah, I remember you wrote
definitely good to have him back.
You wrote an article about it.
Yeah, I did.
So Nathan Hoffman up in an 0-2 count, runner on first. We got to know the umpire, that second base umpire, pretty well today. Throw over, close play, but McGinnis is safe.
A lot of action by the umpire out there standing behind the mound. Must see TV.
He's got a good stance going.
Yeah, he's ready. He's versatile. He's ready to make a call.
0-2. Got him. Throws Hoffman. 2 are down.
And gives Munson his third
Right
strikeout.
fielder, number 16, Luke Tovig.
So definitely starting to settle in a little bit confident out there.
So Luke Tofig, a member of the Backyardigans, long lost, takes a pitch inside.
Another one of the freshmen here in this lineup.
Yeah, they got their form of hazing. It's not too bad.
Yeah, Tovik hasn't been given a ton of at-bats this spring so far as a freshman, kind of tracks, but kind of still looking to give him that space to really break out as a player. Definitely has potential to.
We walks last time up, has a nice play in the field. Swings and misses, though, down 1-2. McGinnis waiting at first.
Yeah, you can really see it in the deliveries that Madsen is just starting to get more confident out there, kind of setting himself up to go a little bit later into this game. Obviously, just that one run on the board, the only stand.
Swing and a miss. Back-to-back Ks for Madsen in the 7-inning affair. It's still 1-0. A nice old pitcher's duel, old-fashioned stuff at Scott Carpenter Park.
To Folsom Feud. I'm your host, Colby, here with 3 contestants today, Lincoln, Balin, and Kieran. Lincoln, start us off.
I'll take game day etiquette for 200.
All right. This is the best way to show respect during the CU fight song.
What is standing, singing loud, and raising your hand in the hook 'em horn sign?
Not what we're looking for. Balin, you have an answer?
What is stand up, sing loud, and do the Ralphie horns?
Correct. Balin, the board is yours.
Give me tailgate traditions for 400.
All right, here's the answer. The must-have item to wear on game day to show your buff pride. Kieran?
What is black and gold?
That's correct. Nothing says school spirit like those 2 colors. Choose the next one.
Let's do fan etiquette for 600.
Fan etiquette. The proper response when you hear someone yell, "Go Buffs."
What is Skull Buffs?
Skull Buffs is right. Looks like we've got some true Buffs fans here. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to our contestants, and see you next time.
The tennis team is on a cold streak. They're 0-4 since March 13th, losing to UCF, Houston, BYU, and Utah. Quite a fall from grace after their 6-game win streak in February. However, the team is still ranked 61st in the nation, and they have the opportunity to get back on track against Texas Tech tomorrow. Texas Tech is ranked 13th in the nation and already have 3 ranked wins on the season. A win here would give the Buffs a lot of momentum heading into the home.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you back into the booth. First pitch swung on, fielded cleanly but dropped. Nebraska's leadoff base runner will reach. And that was Tristan Kingery, 7-hole hitter.
Right.
Welcome you back into the booth. Down Weiss alongside me, Liam Howard. Checking in, Liam. How you doing?
Doing well. Good game of baseball. We're moving right along.
Yeah, really are. I love the pace of play here after a marathon 9-inning game last night. So Nebraska reaches the leadoff runner on as Blake Peterson, the right fielder, come to the plate as he looks at strike one. Liam, what have you seen from Will Shine out there on the mound today?
I mean, he's been moving through this lineup so far. This has been an efficient day for him, and anytime that he has gotten in a little bit of trouble, even if it's anything from his fielders, he's been moving right through it.
This one, tapped. McGinnis at third makes the play, throw over to first in time. Did a good job of not rushing that for the first out of the inning. So Will move Kingery over to second base. Nebraska will once again have a runner in scoring position. But as we were talking about, Sean has done a really good job. Every time, so the first inning, sat him down, 3 batters. Innings 2 through 4 after that. He's only bringing up 4 batters to the plate every time, so he's getting through the line efficiently.
Absolutely keeping that pitch count low as well, something that can let him go long into this game. Great for a day when he got a doubleheader.
Mm-hmm. Pearson looks at ball 1 there. The runner on second grounded out his first time up. On outside by Shine. He's been doing a good job of keeping balls in the zone generally. Nebraska is swinging. It's tallied 5 strikeouts on the day so far. Use one right here with the runner on second. The 2-0 pitch. Swung on in the left field, shallow left. Melberg was in the right position to make that play. Didn't have to move. Checks a runner at second, but is safe. Now 2 outs on the inning quickly.
Yeah, good job there by Melberg. Kingery was getting quite the secondary lead there at second base. He was doing that throughout the at-bat. He noticed it and was able to try and cut him back off, maybe keep him a little bit more honest throughout this next at-bat.
So the lineup turns over for the infamous 3rd time around. Here's Chase Savage. Had a single to start this game and struck out his last time up. So he looks at ball 1.
Interesting to see how this umpire is working these hitters based on which side of the plate they're hitting from. That outside edge was being called a lot more when you had a righty in the box earlier in this game.
Kind of funny to see how, for each batter, kind of the strike zone tweaks a little bit. A 1-1 count now to Savage. Had some at-bats in yesterday's game as well. 1-1. Took some off. It's upstairs.
Yeah, Kingery definitely cutting into that lead a little bit. Not quite getting the same jump he was getting after the pitch. Still a decent lead on ahead of this pitch, though.
The 2-1. Swung on, fouled off. Liam, I know you covered a lot of basketball in the day. What does Hargreaves coming back mean for the team?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a guy that they can turn to as their primary scoring option. He was the primary scoring option at UC Riverside last season, and that's a role he can step right back into, has the experience, and just got a transfer commitment guard from Australia, Alexander Dickinson, who is going to be a great shooting guard to go alongside him.
First pitch swung on up the middle. That ball will sneak into the outfield. Here comes Kingery coming home. The throw off line as he comes standing up. It took him 4 innings, but Nebraska gets on the board here in the 5th. We got a tie game 1-1.
Yeah, just a ball with eyes right there. That was a tough seeing eye ground ball that made its way split between both Stafford and Konkowicz, Konkowicz, not a friendly start to the game for him as he's been introduced with a couple of tough ground balls his way.
Yeah, just checked in this inning at shortstop for Nathan Hoffman. Reynolds comes out. That will be the end of the day for Will Shine. He goes 4 strong. Gives up a run this inning. That runner reached via an error. Number 20 will come into the pen. We'll get that name quick. We'll step aside momentarily. Here's Scott Carpenter in a 1-1 score. Stay with us. We welcome you back. Colorado hands the ball to freshman Tyler Gray, coming in for his 6th appearance on the mound this year. Only one of them start. It's really used out of the bullpen is this freshman. He will come into the game with 2 outs and a runner on. He will face shortstop Alex Imig, who's 0 for 2 on the day. Looks at strike 1.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup to watch. Of course, righty in the box, but Gray's got sort of that sidearm release as a lefty. That can be a little bit odd out of the hand when you're seeing him coming into the game for the first time.
Runner goes, but it's swung on in the left field. That will get down. Back-to-back base hits for Nebraska as Savage will hold up at second, but cannot let this Nebraska team get hot. There's back-to-back base hits.
And certainly coming out of the bullpen, having to pitch from the stretch right away can be a little bit challenging. Will be interesting to see how the freshman handles that in a game that's quite high stakes. Bit of a rivalry forming. The players have been given into it so far with their energy. It's been fun to watch and big moment for him to step up.
Yeah, the last 2 series for Colorado have really been pretty high intensity. They just welcomed Metro State last weekend for the first conference series. So this one, the first non-conference series, but treating it like it. This rivalry has been brought to the diamond. Very exciting to watch. Now, first and second situation comes up for Carter Hunt. Designated hitter, 1 for 2 out of base hit his last time up. Nebraska really tallying those hits.
Yeah, absolutely. If they can string hits together, that's one way that they can beat the Buffaloes. It was mentioned earlier by Harrison that the Buffaloes have gotten hits this season. They just have struggled to string them together, and if an opposing team can do that, especially at that halfway to late point in the game, can be difficult to come back from for this Buff squad.
Yes, it can. Carter Hunt here put in the 3-hole, and rightfully over 1,000 OPS, slugging the stripes off the ball. Very good batting average as well. So it's definitely who Nebraska wants up in this situation. With this short 5-inning game here, now Colorado only has 9 outs to try and take back the lead. Playing 2 7-inning games today in this doubleheader. 2 balls and 1 strikes to Hunt. Gray takes a look at second, focuses on the hitter, comes home, swing and a miss there for strike 2.
And nice arm action there on that pitch. Got him to swing just over top of it. That one looked a little bit better out of the hand than it ended up in the zone.
Good execution with that challenge pitch. See if he comes back to him. 2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. Outside. It's a close call. Umpire will leave it to load up the count.
Yeah, there's that zone sort of shifting that we were mentioning earlier. That's something that may have been called a strike earlier in the game. You're seeing a righty up at the plate.
Big pitch here, the full count. Gray, the freshman, comes home, will step off. Nebraska Bull dugout will let him hear it as well. 2 teams were jawing at each other from the dugouts last night. See if we see any of that carry over. It's been friendly so far, but you know, as the night goes on, sure tensions will just get higher. The full count, Gray comes home, he leaves him. A big walk there from Carter Hunt to load up the bases. An even bigger spot for Justin Holdcroft.
Number 3, Justin Holdcroft.
And now the base is juiced, and this situation just getting more and more sticky for Gray out there. He's going to need to bear down at this point in the game and can't allow an inning like this to blow it open for the Buffaloes.
Yeah, came in with 2 runners on here and has now loaded them up as he challenges Holdcroft for strike 1. Bad throw from, that is a new catcher in the game, not Charlie Lesh anymore. We'll get that name soon, but kind of let that one go away from him. You believe Cole Wallace-Wayne now behind the plate for the Buffaloes. Here's the 0-1. Swung on. Jeez, tattooed foul.
I tell you what, Holdcroft has one thing on his mind right now. He came up that first pitch, took a healthy cut, pulled his head a little bit and missed it, and then missed one ahead of it. Just pulled it foul. Got to keep this ball low in the zone right now.
See what he does here. A pitcher's count in the 0-2. Gray comes on. This one in the left field. Melberg chasing it. Will land foul. A close one. We couldn't see exactly where that ball landed, but looked like it was close. Holdcroft staying early in the counts here.
Yeah, that was a narrow miss of a bad situation for the Colorado Buffaloes. Hung that pitch just a little bit. Needs to keep it down here. Holdcroft is taking some healthy cuts.
Yeah, if I'm Gray right now, I'm challenging him with speed. He swung at every pitch so far in the at-bat. The 0-2 hits him. Not the time to do it, but Nebraska will go on top here in the 5th. The 2 spot is enough to take the lead. It's 2-1.
Yeah, certainly the tide of this game feeling like it's turning from what it had been previously. Before it was very methodical, a very quick pitcher's duel earlier in this game, and now wheels starting to come off for the Buffaloes. Going to be down to Gray to get control of it.
First pitch is upstairs to Matthew Humphrey, who saw some time on the mound for Nebraska last night. Now in there as the first baseman in the 5-hole. So an upstairs, 2 quick balls on him. Yeah, Colorado's bullpen efforts have been generally smooth so far this year, relatively speaking, of course. So see if Gray can get out of it. Needs to hit the zone, though. That's now 3 balls and no strikes.
You're going to have to attack him here, but also got to be careful not to give him anything that he can cause greater damage with.
The 3-0 hits the zone. Was an upstairs pitch that clipped it. A big strike there from Gray, trying to dial it back in. Nowhere to put Humphrey. The pitch swung on, fouled off. Gray fights back. Now will put 2 strikes on him.
And certainly good job to battle back here by Gray. Has him at a point now where it's a 2-strike count. Battle back without having to give up anything that was all that hittable.
The 3-2 from Gray needs to get out of it. Runners go early, swung on over to shortstop. Konkowicz fields it cleanly over to first in time. The damage is limited. Nebraska will leave a full runner base pass out there as Gray gets out of the inning. Nebraska gets a lead though. It's 2-1. Stay with us for the bottom of the fifth.
Georgia Tech game can again be kind of a make or break of a springboard on what the mood of this season is going to look like, because again, this is a team that went 3-9 last season in Colorado, but they competed with a really good Georgia Tech team for pretty much the whole entire game into the end. You lose that game, and it kind of, the season goes downhill from there, but if you come out with a win, it could look a little bit differently. So do you think that could be a trend setter for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I do. I think last time we saw it here in Boulder, I was at that game in the very first row, actually. So it was a crazy atmosphere. The energy within this football program, I think, is very real. This time we go to Atlanta, like I said. If you can sneak away with a win in there, that'd be awesome, kind of splitting that 1-1 series we did have set up with them. I think that'd be really good. But also, on the other hand, I do think that you don't want to overreact anytime, any sports program, especially at the collegiate level with these kids. You don't want to overreact. One bad loss, maybe even two bad losses, Georgia Tech and then Northwestern. Obviously, you want to see those go our way, but I want to see how this new coaching staff, offense coordinator, defense coordinator, and of course Coach Prime going into his fourth season now, how they react if it is a bit of a slow start, and if they can kind of be resilient and piece together some wins after a not great start.
Well, guys, the last time Colorado started the season on the road against a Power 5 opponent, they went to TCU and won in the first game of the Deion Sanders era. Now going into his fourth season, we'll see what is in store for this Colorado football team and their tough Big 12 schedule to start the season. That's going to do it, though, for this week's edition of Buff Banner for Mason.
Judd Stafford will lead off the fifth inning for the Buffaloes, now trailing 2-1. Nebraska rallied there. They chased Shine last inning. Got a little bit off the freshman Tyler Gray. Nebraska starter Cole Madsen back in there for his fifth inning of work. Done a good job, really utilized the strikeout the last two innings. See if he brings it into the fifth. Swung on. Shortstop grabs it. Tossed to first in time. Amig took his time there at shortstop to retire Stafford for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, this is certainly going to be a response inning for the Buffaloes. Getting late into this game, and this is the point where they need to start stringing some hits together if they're going to do it all tonight.
I'll bring up the speedy Chase Ambiel. Interesting to see him at the 9-hole. A pretty productive bat here. Maybe teeing off the top of the order for Ada Melberg, who is on deck. Yeah, Colorado with a chance in this game to win the series. They're taking the game last night via the walk-off. Try to carry the momentum with a win here and to try and sweep the series. Here's Ambiel, flew out his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Madsen, that one gets away from him for ball one.
Wouldn't that be pretty fun, though, a rubber match to end this series?
Would be very fitting. The rivalry even seeking into chasing the foul balls by the net. There's always one Nebraska player running out of the dugout, one Colorado player running out. I feel like they celebrate more from getting the ball there than they do base hits.
Certainly, I think that's the loudest I've heard the park today.
1 ball, 1 strike from Madsen to Ambiel. We'll leave him there, ball 2.
Getting in a good hitter's count here. At this point in the game, needing to be aggressive. This has got to be the pitch right here that he's attacking.
Fouled off by Ambiel. He chased that one near the dirt. But we'll get a piece of it now for 2 strikes.
That certainly was the approach there. Pulled his head a little bit, and that pitch also just a little bit too low to do much with. But certainly, I like the aggressive approach there at the plate, and I think that is the type of approach that the Buffaloes are not only going to need to take for the remainder of this game, but next game as well, especially if that is the deciding factor in this series.
2 balls and 2 strikes on the center fielder. Madsen comes home. And the zone will freeze him. A backwards K in the book. Ambiel goes down. for his second putout of the day. 2 quick outs for Aiden Melberg.
Well, so much for aggression on that at-bat. Aggressive hack the pitch before, but then watches a very good pitch down the middle. Got to be more aggressive, at least to protect in that situation.
Yeah, kind of bugged him there. I'm sure he was trying to think that Madsen was coming out there and try and fool him on a pitch outside. So when you see it right down the heart, it's kind of hard to catch up to it. Melberg, the left fielder, now will come up as the lineup turns over for the third time around here. They do so in the 5th here with 2 outs. It's the left fielder. Look at strike 1.
That one was definitely a low call. The first one was in that outer edge of the plate that the calls have been made early in the game.
1 ball, 1 strike. Ooh, looked inside up here. Melberg disagrees, but now 2 strikes on the count. Looking for a 3-up, 3-down inning is Madsen and Nebraska, trying to capitalize on that momentum from getting the lead in 2 runs last inning. The 1-2 outside. Some of the infield started running in. Possibly a makeup call for the pitch earlier.
Yeah, that definitely was right around the location of that first pitch, so I think there would have been some grievances from Melberg at the plate had that been called the strike.
Yeah, we saw a couple of those boil over yesterday as the 2-2 comes in. Strike 3. 2 backwards Ks in the board for Madsen as he gets out of the inning. 2 strikeouts, retires the Buffs. 3-up, 3-down. Nebraska tallying some momentum as we head to the 6th.
Thunderbirds intercollegiate last Tuesday. The squad finished 21 strokes under par, just 4 strokes behind the hometown winners, the Arizona Wildcats. Upperclassmen Tyler Holbrook and Hunter Swanson dominated at the tournament and finished 7 under and 6 under respectively. The Buffs are back in action this weekend, competing in the Wally Goodwin Invitational in Palo Alto, California. The Buffs entered today in 8th place after shooting 2 strokes under par in the first round on Thursday. The second round is finishing up right now, and the third round will be played on Saturday.
Welcome to Folsom Feud. I'm your host, Colby, here with 3 contestants today. Lincoln, Balin, and Kieran. Lincoln, start us off.
I'll take game day etiquette for 200.
All right. This is the best way to show respect during the CU fight song.
What is standing, singing loud, and raising your hand in the hook 'em horn sign?
Not what we're looking for. Balin, you have an answer?
6th inning rolls around at Scott Carpenter Park. A beautiful shot from Paxton Hayes at the camera.
Second baseman, number 1.
Looking out on the street. Tyler Gray returns on the mound in relief for Will Shine. Nebraska rallied some batters last inning. The first pitch swung on, and that will not get down. A diving catch from Justin Holdcroft. No, excuse me. Sorry, I have it mixed around. That is Ambiel with the diving catch there to retire JT Mahaney. Really good play in center field for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, crucial play there as well, and a very, I guess, aggressive approach to taking that. If he missed that diving catch, would have been some damage, but confidence for Ambiel.
Another first pitch swung on as that will drop in no man's land as Kingery gets aboard. Nebraska coming out and swinging here in the 6th.
Had 2 pitches, 2 hacks to start the inning.
Right,
certainly keeping
9,
the pitch count low for Tyler Gray, but want to avoid getting into the same hot water he was in last inning that he had to work out of.
I will bring up 8-hole hitter Blake Peterson. First pitch in there for a ball. Peterson 1 for 2 on the day so far. Had a single in the 3rd inning. Didn't come across to do any damage. See if he can do something now in a 1-on, 1-away situation. Gray freezes him there for strike 1.
Yeah, good frame job there behind the plate by Cole Wayne. Has been calling that off and on today, but that was a good job to help out and make sure he got that call.
Check runner at first, got him in time. Kingery was napping over at first base. Gray surprised him with the check. Good tag applied by Bibarash. Now 2 outs. Completely flips this inning. Now Colorado looking to respond with a 3-up, 3-down inning of their own.
Yeah, that was an excellent move there by Tyler Gray. Had Kingery napping. Kingery was getting those large leads earlier at second base and now caught it first.
First pitch is that is strike 2 to Blake Peterson. Getting the start in right field. Now 2 strikes. That one outside. It's funny how quick these innings can change. 1 on, 1 away, possibly your runner to play with for Nebraska. They now have nobody on and 2 outs. The 2-2. High. That will load up the count. Teddy Pearson on deck. 9-hole hitter. The 3-2. Swing and a miss. Quick frame from Gray. Probably threw, 6 pitches, 7 pitches that one. 2-1 score. Buffs looking to get some runs here in the bottom of the 6th. They trail by 1.
Your hard-earned work.
What's up, Buffs fans? My name is Max Friedel, and I'm here to give you this week's Rapid Fire. Starting us off, we have Colorado basketball taking on Oklahoma in Vegas on April 1st in the 2nd inaugural college basketball crown. Although it's not March Madness, it is postseason basketball. The Sooners finished 19-15, good enough for 10th place in the SEC. That game will be broadcasted on Fox Sports 1. Moving on, we have Colorado volleyball starting up again after they released their spring schedule last month. The Buffs will be taking on back-to-back scrimmages on Saturday, starting with the University of Northern Colorado at 11 a.m., followed by Wyoming at 12:30. Beyond volleyball, Colorado men's golf is playing a 3-round tournament in Stanford. The Buffs sit at 8th place after the first day and are set to tee off again today and tomorrow for the 2nd and 3rd rounds. Finally, Colorado women's lacrosse is set to host the 2-7 San Diego State Aztecs at noon on Saturday. This will be the Buffs' Big 12 home opener after starting the season 6-2. And again, it's another busy weekend, so make sure you guys get out there and support your Buffs. Back to you guys at the desk.
It's now time for the answer to this week's trivia question. As a reminder, we asked you, when was the last time Colorado had a Division I baseball team? And the answer is, drumroll please, 1980. It's been over 45 years since Buffs baseball hit the D1 stage, and that
Buffs now down to 6 outs to try and change the tide of this game. Trailing by 1. Matson comes out there to strike 1. Out there for 6th inning. Matson has a good day.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about how Will Shine was having a great day and giving the Buffaloes a lot to work with in the second game. Let's talk about Cole Madsen and the game that he has had.
Pinch hitting number 29, Nathan Tunks.
Nebraska able to preserve its entire bullpen. That would be incredible for the second game.
Nathan Tunks is a pinch hitter here for Big Rush in the 6th. That one with Chuck Base showing the leadoff runner for that is just what Colorado needs.
Potentially could see him in motion as they're trying to get some aggressive base running going. Gotta generate something.
Catcher number 27, Cole Wallace Wayne.
Yeah, a lot of lineup movement in this one. Cole Wallace Wayne. Wayne's first at Wallace Wayne's first at bat of the day. See Tunks go here. 1-0. Inside zone.
Tunks getting an aggressive lead over there. Certainly something Nebraska's got to be aware of. That's where I'm hoping that's their graduate.
Taking attention.
Working there for them.
His swing and miss was late to it there.
Certainly a high pitch there as well. Wayne coming in aggressive here. LSU's my second choice too.
We only have so many outs to work with here for the Buffaloes. Can't get yourself caught chasing. High ones and way off.
Nice move there like this Chicago area. Wasn't Wayne, that wasn't Tunks.
I didn't really apply all
biggest lead that he had. First. Yeah, I would have watched that game.
applied to, because I moved here back in 2019. This and CSU were like they fully accepted me.
One ball, 2 strikes. Madsen, the starter, still out there. Shot at a complete game here. The 1-2 strike 3. A little generous there.
Designated hitter number 9, Rishi Nair.
Rishi Nair comes up, designated hitter.
So is NC State though. NC State's not. Tell me what number it says. Let's try to search this. It's interesting.
That is strikeout number 8 for Madsen. 3 in the last 2 innings. Leaves there.
Rishi Nair was a game 2 lone run scorer for the Buffalo.
I applied to school lines, but they waitlisted me because I worked at NCBA engineering. We played that.
Talk about engineering second.
I thought I
As I mentioned, they're one of my favorite batters on this Buffs lineup. Really fun. Doesn't get the start every day, but when he does, one on, one away. Swing and miss there.
Right on that. Rishi Nair just a little bit above that. He had a good swing, good tap at the bat there. Just didn't quite have the timing right on that pitch.
Nair slotted in a DH. Cleanup DH at that.
One done.
Swings and strike 2 there. It's all empty on back-to-back.
You don't even have to deal with
Madsen challenging.
Just a little bit behind it. Absolutely, like you said, challenging him in this.
Gotta love that from Madsen, though, this far into a game. Still challenging guys. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Keeps tallying them up. That is now 9 punch-outs. Victim of the Buffs lineup.
Number 13, Max
Now
McGinnis.
2 outs. Tunk still at first. We'll bring the third baseman, Max McGinnis. Be interesting to see if Madsen goes with that same challenge approach on McGinnis here.
I would go every year.
Swung on first pitch. Does it hit the gap? No, it doesn't. Shortstop, a rainbow throw over to first. Had a good chance, but that ball will get by him as Tunks will halt into third. A lot of movement all of a sudden on this inning now as I will put runners on the corners for Lucas Konkowicz. Yeah, that's a major shakeup there for the Buffaloes. Now a runner in scoring position.
Shortstop number 19, Lucas Konkowicz.
Still would have been nicer for it to happen earlier in the inning as Konkowicz is going to need a base hit here. Got to push something past the infield, especially with that force out at second. Konkowicz, first at-bat of the day. First swing he takes will come up empty for strike 1. Madsen going right back to that fastball to start the at-bat. This is the biggest spot that Madsen has been in since the second inning, where that 1 run came across. 2 outs, though, on the frame. So it'll be in an 0-2 count to Konkowicz. And there it is again, and McGinnis came into his at-bat ready for it. But so far, Konkowicz behind it, just as Rishi Nair was. 2 strikes, 2 outs. Madsen trying to shut the door. The pitch, runner goes. It will not matter. 3 strikeouts to total number 10 on the game for Cole Madsen. Nebraska maintains the lead as we go into the final inning of Game 1. It's a close score to go to the 7th. Stay with us.
Good look at it. I think on one hand, this is our Colorado team, like you kind of mentioned, did lose 5 of their last 5 games last year, and in addition to that, did lose arguably their top player, for sure on offense, Jordan Seaton, departing to LSU. So I do think in one way it is definitely something you could argue, but also on the other side, we have seen Deion Sanders' teams at Colorado rebound. We saw his first season at 2023 was not very good, and we saw adjustments between coordinators, new personnel, a nice rebound in 2024. We're wondering if they can kind of do that and outproject that 3-9 last place, what people are kind of expecting from them.
Yeah, 1-8 in conference last year. I mean, obviously they got a big win over Iowa State in the middle of October. Like you said, 5 straight losses to end the season. And you mentioned it, Jordan Seaton, Tawfiq Bayard, Omarion Miller, all these key pieces from what was not a very talented team last season, but those were some of your best players. And you bring in some guys in the transfer portal, Danny Scudero on the offensive end, Boo Carter on the defensive end.
Welcome back into the booth. Liam Howard now on play-by-play. Going to be joined by Jake Chow on color. Huge inning here for Nebraska and Colorado. Going to be Tyler Gray still on the mound for the Buffaloes, and Teddy Pearson, the catcher, up to the plate for Nebraska.
Yeah, you can feel the tension kind of building between these two teams as we head to the last frame. Nebraska had that big inning that Colorado did a good job limiting the damage in the hole there with the bases loaded. Only 2 runs conceded.
Yeah, absolutely, and this matchup certainly going to be interesting to watch here. The lefty-righty matchup. Gray now in the windup. Pitch just outside. For Teddy Pearson, looking for his first hit of the day. Ground out in the 3rd inning, and then a fly out in the 5th. Foul ball there, right onto the street, nearly clobbered somebody walking down the street, an innocent bystander.
Yeah, hopefully they'll toss that ball back. They saw it at least, although I think they won't.
That ball well up the street. Gray's pitch going to be outside once again. 2-2 count here to Teddy Pearson.
And again, the doubleheader shortens the game, so only 7 frames in this one.
Outside once again. It's going to not up the count. 3-2. Gray needing to execute here on a pitch. Pearson holding tight to the plate. Gray's pitch popped up, straight up, and that's going to go just foul into the stands, and no one will come up with it, but also nobody injured. So overall, a good outcome.
Yeah, right into that gap of some Nebraska fans down that first base line.
So we'll do it again. 3-2.
Yeah, payoff pitch here.
Gray's pitch. Swung on and driven. This is going to go to left field, or right field, excuse me. It is caught. A great catch out there by Luke Tofig. And that'll retire Teddy Pearson.
Yeah, Pearson kind of jammed up there on that swing through. Couldn't quite follow through all the way. That's why it kind of jammed and didn't quite have the pop that he wanted it to down the right field line.
Yeah, absolutely. And a off the end of the bat swing there for Teddy Pearson. That'll bring Chase Savage to the plate. Savage 2 for 3 on the day. Scored in the 5th. He's going to swing, send it over to the shortstop. Fielded on a hop and thrown out at first base. The Buffaloes retire their first 2 batters of the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Yeah, Konkowicz, great job staying poised. He made an error earlier in that shortstop position. Able to stay poised on the hop, read it well, make the easy throw.
So now that'll bring Alex Image to the plate.
Had a single his last at bat. Trying to add some insurance for the Cornhuskers.
That pitch taken outside for ball 1. Start the at bat. Gray's delivery. That'll be strike 1. Even up the count at 1-1. Now Image going to need to start generating something here for Nebraska with no runners on and 2 outs. And there's that outside corner once again. Tyler Gray really attacking that outside edge of the plate here. Goes there with the off speed, but that'll be just outside. It'll be a 2-2 count.
Yeah, the umpires had a wide zone all game and trying to capitalize on it.
2-2 pitch. This one straight down the middle and fouled back by Alex Image. Right on it. Just a little bit below, going to go straight to the backstop. And we will do it again at 2-2. Swing and a miss. He strikes him out. A great inning there for Tyler Gray, and the Buffaloes now will go into the 7th inning looking to walk it off, down 1.
And it's off. Oh wait, hold on. The track stop.
For what?
Just completely stopped.
I fucking love Neil Peart.
10 goals in every game to date. They are powered by sophomore goalkeeper Elena O, senior defender and team captain Jess Peluso. O has picked up 5 Big 12 Goalkeeper of the Week awards, is 6th in the NCAA for save percentage, and 2nd in goals against average. Peluso, the 2025 Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, has led the Buffaloes with 16 ground balls, 12 caused turnovers, and 23 draw controls in non-conference play. The 2 teams that will contest Colorado for all the glory are Florida and Cincinnati. Both opponents are offensive powerhouses with young talent. Florida is 7-2 in non-conference play and are ranked number 1 in the NCAA for clear percentage, number 18 in points per game, and number 3 for scoring offense. The Gators are a well-rounded team, having 3 players earn Big 12 honors last week. Senior defender Teresa Bragg was named Defensive Player of the Week, sophomore attacker Claire Hamilton earned Attacker of the Week, and freshman midfielder Carolyn Hoskins earned Freshman of the Week. Sitting at 8-4 in non-conference, Cincinnati has the most wins in the Big 12 currently. The Bears hit their stride mid-season.
All right, we are back for the bottom of the 7th inning. The Colorado Buffaloes down 2-1, and it's going to be Tofig to the plate. Cole Madsen looking to complete the complete game. First pitch taken for a ball.
Yeah, Madsen's been excellent on the mound for the Cornhuskers, but Colorado has a chance to kind of break through here.
Absolutely. Tofig rips it on the ground. Over to the shortstop. Image throws him out at first base. Buffalo's first batter retired. And now going to be Jude Stafford to the plate.
Second baseman. No. Wow.
Some audio issues here.
Jude Stafford is batting before the mic comes out.
Yeah, the mic having some issues here at the ballpark. Jude Stafford to the plate. First pitch from Madsen taken inside. The bottom of the Buffaloes order going to be tasked here with clawing them back into this game, at least tying it up. This one fouled off of his shin.
Yeah, this game is certainly to set up this second leg of this doubleheader very nicely. If Nebraska does end up pulling it off, the Buffaloes are sure to kind of feel that they were almost there the entire game and, kind of use that for fuel in the second leg. But, I mean, if you're Colorado, you really want to walk this off here. And if Nebraska are on the other end of that, that'll fuel you in this second leg.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge game for the momentum of this series. And also going to determine the stakes of Game 3. 2-1 count here on Jude Stafford.
Yeah, and Colorado can secure the series here in the bottom of the 7th.
And that pitch right on that outside corner. That's going to bring up a 2-2 count. Stafford needing to come through clutch for his team. Madsen looking to bear down and complete this game for the Cornhuskers. His pitch taken on the outside corner. Strike 3. Stafford is retired, and the Buffaloes down to their final out.
Yeah, Colorado's hasn't been too quick with the bat this game. They've kind of sat on a lot of pitches that maybe they should have swung on in late counts.
Absolutely, and now it'll be the 9-hole hitter, Chase Ambuel. First pitch going to be taken low for ball 1.
I don't think we have one. I guess we could do that.
Second pitch from Madsen. Swung on and missed. Went low again, and Ambule swung over top of it. Pitch taken outside and low. Now a 2-1 count for Ambule. And a crucial moment for his team.
And on deck, Melberg, who struck out twice this game.
And not a great game for Melberg so far. That pitch taken for a strike. And now the Buffaloes down to their final strike. 2-2 count. Cole Madsen eyeing down the complete game to send this to the rubber match. Swing and a miss! Struck him out. Ambule goes down on strikes, and Nebraska wins game 2, 2-1, and the first game of the doubleheader.
Yeah, what a performance from Cole Madsen, who just came in and dominated the Buffaloes from beginning to end.
Yeah, absolutely. A great pitcher's duel for the majority of this game. One inning, really, of struggle for the Colorado Buffaloes, but aside from that, great pitching all throughout, and what a game from Cole Madsen.
Yeah, but don't go anywhere. More baseball action from Scott Carpenter Park that'll determine this series between the rivals.
Absolutely. What a treat that will be. These two rivals establishing their new rivalry in a way that you can't really beat any other way. A great Game 3 of this series coming up for Liam Howard, Jake Chow, and everyone here at SCO Buff Sports. You heard it here first.
The Buffs volleyball team is back for some spring ball this weekend as they head to Greeley, Colorado for 2 matchups between Northern Colorado and Wyoming. Both matchups will give a closer look on how the team will look this season with the departures of Sarah Morton and Ryan Finley. First game will be at 11 a.m. followed by 12:30 p.m. Catch updates on the game on CU Buffs Volleyball social media.
Here we see Xavier McNevitz working on his reader for the live show. If we didn't have these readers done by Thursday night, chances are we would not be airing this show right now. Be like Xavier. Get your readers done. And don't forget to click save